Hilda Lessways has accepted George Cannon's proposal of marriage, but she is nervous of breaking the news to Miss Gailey.
Put 6 drops of that medicine into that half glass of water. That should help her to sleep.
Thank you. Is she getting worse, Doctor?
No, I don't think so. Uritis, of course, is a nervous complaint. That doesn't help her to stand the pain from the rheumatism and the sciatica. It'll come and go all the time, I'm afraid. It's unlikely to kill her. But on the other hand, it's unlikely she'll ever be completely cured.
Well, thank you, Doctor.
Good night, then.
Good night.
Oh, good evening, Miss Lessways.
Good evening, Mr. Mountwood.
I trust I didn't make a faux pas this afternoon. When I carried in the new maid's trunk, I had the feeling you weren't too pleased with me.
Oh, no, you're quite mistaken, really.
Oh, good. I mustn't start getting on the wrong side of you. No, simple courtesy, that's all it was. There's not much else left for us widowers but to give a helping hand wherever we can.
Yes, well, I must just give Miss Gailey her medicine.
Oh, dear, still poorly, is she? I'm sorry to hear that. Do give her my best. She's a wonderful woman, wonderful. I shall take myself off to the drawing room and join in the sinful Brighton life.
What did he say?
He said you must take this medicine.
He hasn't helped my wrists. He hasn't helped them at all.
Well, that's what this medicine's for.
I don't see how medicine can help my wrists.
It's to help you to rest. That will help your wrists.
Oh, oh.
There. Sure you'll sleep now?
I don't think I shall.
Oh, yes, you shall. Now, just let me take this extra pillow away, and then you'll be able to lie down properly. What a pity it is for all of us that the poor thing can't bear her pain with a little less fuss.
Where's George?
In the parlour. Why?
Nothing. Are you out together for long this afternoon?
Not for very long. By the way, who is it that's been talking scandal about me and George?
Scandal?
Because, if you want to know, we're engaged to be married. Oh, dear. This won't help her to sleep. It's a secret, dear. I'm telling no one but you.
It'll be much the best not to tell anyone. And the shorter the engagement, the better. Don't tell anyone in the house until you're married. If you turn the gas down, I dare say I might get off. If only they'd stop that piano upstairs. Oh. 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 Oh.
Good night. Well, I've told someone. Now I'm really engaged. I think she'll get off now.
Did you tell her? What did she say?
Oh, well, she said we ought to keep it quiet and keep the engagement as short as possible.
I agree with her. In fact, I've been working it out. Best wait till October, when the season really dies down, and then I shall take a room in Lewis.
What for?
To get the residential qualifications. I shall have to sleep there every night for the length of time imposed by the law. Nobody knows us there. We can be married in peace. Well, I need an opinion from you, you know. Do you agree to become Mrs. Cannon in Lewis in the middle of October?
I thought it was Canonge. Isn't that your name?
Now, what makes you say that?
I don't know. I thought it was.
Canonge? No, it's good English Cannon. I changed it by deed poll years ago. Why, did you want a French husband?
No. I just thought...
It's Cannon or nothing, I'm afraid.
Then Cannon it shall be.
We'll take Sarah's advice and tell nobody, I think. You can tell the servants and the boarders that you're going on holiday with some friends. After August and September, you'll deserve a holiday, all right. Then all you've got to do is get on a train. I shall meet you at Lewis. We shall be married. And then we'll go off to Ireland for a bit. Now, what do you say to all of that?
Yes.
Look. Let's go out, eh?
Go out.
Yeah, I want you to come out.
What will people say?
What the devil does it matter what they say? Anyway, they won't see us. We'll go up the area steps. I've got a carriage waiting just down the street.
A carriage?
Yes, I fancied a bit of a drive. Now, Shoreham way. Mustn't keep the driver waiting. Come on.
Just a moment. What an exciting man he is.
A good servant takes pride in what she does, and I'm sure you do that. I'm sure you do. But I have noticed this, and I know you want me to see that I find. I have noticed that since I've been in the schools, the standards in this house...
She's feeling better?
Some might say that because there are only a few people in the house, because it's no longer the height of the season, that there's not a great deal for us to do. Well, I think this is just the time that there is.
Will this be our room? I suppose it will. Florrie. I've just been into Mr. Cannon's room. The windows in there are very dirty, you know.
Window cleaner isn't vain, Mum.
Yes, well, rub them over yourself. Surely you can do that. I know Mr. Cannon isn't sleeping here, but he does use the room in the daytime quite a lot.
But I was supposed to get the washing he left for doing, Mum.
Well, get the washing first and then rub over the windows. Oh, that was unforgivable. Just like Mother, that was. How you liking Brighton, Florrie? Don't you miss the people you know in Turnhill?
Not really, Mum.
One day, you'll want to get married, of course.
Dunno, Mum.
Well, plenty of time for that.
Shall I wait till the rain stops, Mum?
What for?
Clean the windows.
Ah, well, yes. No point in cleaning the windows while it's raining. I mustn't do it. It's wrong. It's just cowardice, that's all. There's so much else I could do, I know there is. I've got money. I've got freedom. I've got ambition, haven't I? Well, why don't I learn to use them instead of this? I'm giving up. I'm giving in. I'm wasting my life. I was one of the first women to write shorthand in all the 5 towns. One of the first in England, I shouldn't be surprised. Well, if I can do that, I can do anything. What am I doing? I'm getting married, that's all. I don't care. I don't. He loves me. And I want him. Oh. And this time next week I shall be his wife.
Bring the trunks in. Louisa. Take Mrs. Cannon's handbag, Louisa.
Yes, sir.
And whereabouts is Miss Gailey?
She's in the parlour, sir.
Is that you, George?
Yes, Sarah, it's us.
George, I must speak to you. There's something... Can you come down into the parlour?
Is it that urgent?
Oh, yes. I'm so glad you're back. I truly am.
Now, I know Hilda is anxious to wash and change her clothes, Sarah. We've been travelling since we left Dublin yesterday.
I think you should shut the door. You'll never believe what has happened.
Well, until you tell us, Sarah, we can't.
Is that Florrie? Florrie? It's not my fault, George. I didn't start anything. That bedroom was filthy. I told her so. I told her you wouldn't tolerate guests coming into dust like that. She didn't see it, she said. If you stood on a chair, you'd have seen it, I said. If you'd run your hand up there, you'd have felt it, I said. I'll not have my wardrobes with dust on top. I put my hand up there for her to see, and when I brought it down, it was black as coal. I told her she must go right round the house and run her hand over the top of every wardrobe there was. I'm responsible for the state of these bedrooms, I said, and I'll not have them dusty, not at any price. Well, she was just like a girl from a pop bank. She was. I've never heard anyone use language like that. The whole house could hear her. She's insolent baggage. That's what she is.
She leaving?
She's gone. Without any sort of notice, she took her trunk and went.
Well, can't be helped. We can manage without getting anybody else for the moment. How many are there in besides the Watchetts and Mr. Bartwood?
Mr. Buttwood's gone too.
Gone where?
Gone with Florrie. He's taken a room for her in the town. That's why she was so uppish. I dare say.
To her mother. Or perhaps to her aunt. Her aunt's got more sense.
If you like.
What do you say?
I say you can write if you like.
But don't you think we ought to write?
Certainly. If you like. But it won't do any good. You don't suppose our aunt's going to come down here, do you? And even if she did, there it is. There you are.
Just let me dry my shoulders, will you?
Well, that must be off, I reckon. I must try and fix up about those shares. Are you quite sure that's what you want?
What?
Those preference shares in the Hotel Continental.
Yes, if you think so.
Well, I do, you know I do. But it's your money that'll be buying them. And those railway shares you've got now are bringing you in quite a good return. But, of course, what you've got to do is to balance that against the fascination of a new hotel and the possibility of a small fortune.
I'd rather do what you think.
Well, you know what I think.
Then that's what we must do.
Good. I shan't be very long, but if you'd rather not wait tea for me.
No, I shall wait. You going to see Mr. Boutwood in the town?
I might. I know where to catch him, I fancy.
Where?
Oh, one of those places where we men gather, you know.
How should I know? I'm only a woman.
Ah. Well, anyway, I dare say I shall run into Mr. Boutwood.
And what shall you say to him?
Oh, what can I say to him? It's no business of mine, you know, except that we've lost a decent servant, and I expect that was Sarah's fault. She's no use whatsoever with the servants now, Sarah isn't.
Well, I shall never speak to Mr. Boutwood again.
There's nothing wrong with
Well,
that.
I think it's scandalous. His behaviour's simply wicked. It really is. A man like him. His wife hasn't been dead about 4 months. It's disgusting, I think.
You may depend upon it, she asked for it.
What?
She asked for it. Now, you keep your hair on, little one.
You don't understand.
Don't I?
Why? Does he have to be so coarse and insensitive sometimes? I knew that's how he'd react. I knew. I know him, don't I? I've been married only 2 weeks, and I know him through and through. But when he touches my shoulders... Ugh. Oh. No, I mustn't rush this. This will be the first meal we've had together in this house. Must look my best for him. He'll watch me all the time, I know he will. He loves me. Completely. He's totally mine. Well, here I am. I wanted him and I've got him. What I have to go through, I shall go through. Ooh. I must write and tell Janet Aubrey that I'm married now.
I ain't employed to touch filth like them.
You're just being silly, Louisa.
Silly? You're the one who's silly if you think I'm touching them.
They can't stay there forever.
Well, it's up to you, isn't it? It's nothing to do with me.
I'm telling you to do it.
I'm not touching her sheets. Not for nobody.
Very well, Louisa. I've done.
I've been in houses before, I have. But I've never been in a house before where a thing that should have been a salary girl went off with with a boarder and nothing said. And that boarder, a friend of the master's and all. And it isn't as if it was only that. Oh, no! Sheets, indeed. I'm not touching her sheets.
I've nothing further to say. I shall simply report to Mr. Cannon. We shall see.
And what's all this about Mrs. Cannon?
Mr. Cannon has brought his wife home.
What about his other wife?
Please. I know you're in a temper and not responsible for what you say, but you'd better be careful.
Adam. Well, what I say is, what about his other wife? What about the old woman he married in Devonshire? What about her then, eh? I tell you, Florrie was full of it. She saw her in Turnhill, what's its name? Didn't you know she'd been round there? Inquiring after her beautiful husband, she was. And all of you lying low, and then making out all of a sudden as he's brought his wife home. A nice house this is, and I should know. I've been in some too.
When will George be back so that he can put her out of the house?
Soon, I should think.
Tea, where are you all? What's up? What price for a husband coming home to his tea, eh? No tea, no light. Almost broke my neck down on the basement stairs. Then what are you sitting here for? Now, look here. I've signed the transfer for those Hotel Continental shares, and I've paid the check, so it's domino now. How does it feel, having an interest in a concern like that, eh? I had another look as I was coming along the King's Road. 8 stories, bathrooms on every floor. Oh, it'll be just about the most wonderful thing that'll ever come to this town. We're on our way now, you see. We shall have that Continental one day for ourselves. Hey, what is it? What's up? Oh, you don't mean to say that Sarah's been making herself disagreeable already?
Hasn't she told you?
No. Where is she?
It's Louisa.
Oh.
She made a fearful scene with Sarah on the stairs. She said the most awful things.
For instance?
Well, she said you had a wife living in Devonshire.
And who had told her that?
Florrie.
Indeed.
What are you going to do to her? It's not true.
I suppose there's no good shilly-shallying about. I have got a wife living. And she's in Devonshire. I expect she was inquiring in Turnhill to see if I was still in the land of the living. probably wants to get married again herself. What's the use of me saying I'm sorry? I acted for the best. Chances were 10,000 to 1 against her being spotted. But there you are, you never know your luck. All owing to Florrie, of course. When it was suggested we should have that girl down here, I knew there was a danger, but I pooh-poohed it. I said nothing could possibly happen. If she hadn't come, that woman could have inquired after me in Turnhill till she was all blue without you hearing about it. But there it is. It's my fault for being found out. That's the only thing I'm guilty of. And look at it. Look at it.
Surely that was a long time ago.
Considering I was 22, yes.
Why did you leave her?
Why did I leave her? Because I had to. I'd gone as a solicitor's clerk in an office in Torquay. She was a client. She went mad about me. I'm only telling you. She was a spinster, had one of those big houses on the hill behind the town. She wanted me, and she got me. And she didn't care who knew it. The wedding was in the Torquay directory. I told her I hadn't got any relations. She was jolly glad.
How old was she, young?
She'd never seen 36 again the day I married her. Good looking. Well dressed, very stylish and all that. Carried me off my feet. Oh, of course, there was the money. May as well out with all of it while I'm about it. She made me an absolute present of £4,000. Insisted on doing it. I never asked. Of course, I know I married for money. It happens to youths sometimes as well as to girls. It may be disgusting, but it's no more disgusting for the one than for the other. Besides, I didn't realize that it was a sale and purchase at the time. Oh, and it lasted about 10 days. I couldn't stand it. So I told her so and I chucked it. She started an action for restitution of conjugal rights, but she soon got tired of that. Wouldn't have her £4,000 back. Simply wouldn't. She was a terror, but I'll say that for her. Well, I kept it. £4,000 is a lot of brass. That's how I started business in Turnhill, if you want to know. You may depend I never let on, not in the Five Towns, about my beautiful marriage. That's the tale. You've got to remember, I was 22.
Why did you keep Lou from me?
Keep what from you?
All this this about you being married?
Why did I keep it from you? I'll tell you why I kept it from you. Because I knew that if I told you, I wouldn't stand a chance with a girl like you. I knew it would be all over if I so much as breathed a hint of it. I don't suppose you've got the slightest idea how standoffish you are.
Me? Standoffish?
Look, if I told you I wanted you, and then that I'd got a wife living, what would you have said?
I don't know.
No, but I know. No, Hilda. Nobody can fool about with you.
That first night in this house. Suppose he told me then. I wonder.
Now, that first night in this house, upstairs, I was as near as damn it to coming out with it all and taking my chance with you. But I didn't. I saw it would be no use. And that wasn't the first time either. Of course, it's all my fault.
What?
This all my fault. I don't want to excuse myself. I've nothing to say for myself.
Say you couldn't do without me. Isn't that enough?
I'm ashamed. I'm utterly ashamed. I'd give anything to be able to undo it. Of course, I'm completely done for.
But what is to be done?
I suppose I mustn't stay here. You won't come with me? Louisa?
Yes, sir.
I want you. Run down to the King's Road and fetch me a cab.
Yes, sir.
I suppose I can count on you not to hand me over to the police.
The police? Why?
Well, it's a 3 years job, you know, at least. Never heard of the word bigamy?
Oh, dear. What can you do?
I can disappear. That's all I can do. I don't see myself in prison. I went over Stafford Prison once. The governor showed a few of us round. And I don't see myself in prison. You'll be all right for money and so on. Those Continental shares should do well enough. But I should advise you to get away from here and not come back any sooner than you need to. You've told nobody outside Brighton, have you?
About what?
About us.
I have told no one but Sarah.
Yes, but one or two others have found out. Still, if you can get away... Yes, I think that's the best thing for you. Be Hilda Lessways again. Sarah will have to manage this place as best she can. Be a handsome income for her. My deposit on the Chichester Hotel and so on will have to be forfeited.
And you?
cab's here, sir.
Take the portmanteau with you down to the front door.
Yes.
Dear,
But what will he do?
what shall you do?
Stand aside now. Come on, let folks past. You don't throw on the pavement. Easy, sir.
I'll have your coat when revolution comes.
Strikers, eh? Lock 'em out for winter. Don't just let 'em come crawling back when they've had enough and they want to get in. Lock 'em out for 3 months till he learns some sense. They'll start thinking twice and 3 times and all before they breaks more agreements and strikes again. If a man wants a job, he does a job. He doesn't stand harking to blasted rogues who tells him master's pockets are lined with gold.
It does seem wrong to break an agreement they've made.
Wrong? What does wrong mean to them? It means nothing to them at all. I'll tell you what was wrong. Talking with them was wrong. Having arbitration at all was wrong. Any fool might have known that if it went against them, they'd break it as easy as they'd spit on ground. You can't trust one with his word, not one at all. They're greedy, grabbing, senseless rogues. Let my men try striking. Let them try. I'd teach them striking, that I would. What does think then, eh? I don't know. Don't know. Oh, no. I know what you're thinking. Whatever blasted liberals tells you to think. You've no mind of your own. You just think what you're told. But you learn. When it's you as they want to make a pauper, you learn about unions fast enough.
He'll be disappointed if he doesn't get me roused.
There's naught to tell me about liberals. See, I'm a liberal. Always have been. There was changes needed. There's been changes made. Changes as was changes and all. I'll not have liberals teach me changes. What's liberals want with unions, eh? You can't trust the one of them. That's good and proven. Leaders all men, and they can't even trust each other. Haven't leaders told them, go back, they say, we'll set up arbitration again. Blasted fools won't even listen to leaders. Give us back our penny. That's all they scream. Nay, for very much longer, I'll tell you, though. It's empty bellies as'll drive them back. And what do you reckon as they'll have gained? Just nothing, that's it. Just nothing at all, huh? You've no sense of your body, have you? Eh?
I do wish you wouldn't upset Father like that.
Me? I didn't say anything.
That's what I mean.
Fine state we've got to if I have to take blame for sitting here saying nothing at all. Perhaps you'd rather I answered him back, would have ended up having a flaming row.
I don't know, I must say. Perhaps you're right not to answer. But he gets in a temper whether you answer or not.
That's it, isn't it? That says it all. I sometimes wonder why I stay in this house.
I thought you liked the house.
I do, as a house. Not that I could afford to be anywhere else, not on what he pays me.
He did give you a rise.
Oh, £0.50 a week.
I dare say as those strikers would be glad of that.
You don't understand. It's not the same for you.
Well, I don't see as you've got any cause to complain. You could be on your own now as far as the rest of us goes. We hardly ever see you except at meal times. You're always shut up in your room with your books and things.
Whatever else am I supposed to do then? Sit in front of the fire with Father every night?
That's what I do. And if you're not in your room, you're with your Orgrave friends.
My Orgrave friends? I haven't been there for ages. You see more of the Orgreaves than I
I
ever do.
sometimes say Janet across the
I
garden.
haven't been round to the Orgreaves for weeks and weeks.
Oh.
Not for weeks and weeks I haven't been
you?
there. No.
Why's that then, pray? Haven't you been bothered to put yourself out? I've got to say Mrs. Nixon about one or two things.
What's up with her? Got an old, that's it. Quite an old maid if she don't watch out. She's right, isn't she? I'm lazy, that's all. I want to go to the Orgreaves, but it's weeks since I've been because I can't be bothered to put myself out. I shall go there tonight. Well, perhaps not tonight, but one night, very soon, I shall definitely go.
Hello, Hannah. Oh, Miss Leicester. Did they know? They didn't know. I'm sure they didn't know. Hey, Miss Janet, it's Miss Hilda. Miss Leicester.
Can I keep it all a secret?
Miss Leicester.
Will they notice anything?
Hilda? Yes, Miss, she's here. Hilda, we didn't know you were coming. I just decided to. Hilda. Oh, we were just off to Hill, but how splendid of you to come like this.
Well, you said in your letter to come any time, so I thought I'd give you a surprise.
Don't let's go to Hillport.
Of course you must go.
I'm afraid we shall have to. You see, it's the Marians, Edie's cousins, and Edie will be there.
Who's he?
Why, Tom's fiancé, surely I told you.
Oh, yes. Only I just forgot the name. How nice.
I say, Jan, why shouldn't Hilda come with us too?
Oh, no thanks.
Oh, but do, Hilda. I'm sure they'll be delighted. I never thought of it.
Where's Tom?
Oh, he ran off hours ago to escort his lady love from Hambridge to Hillport.
Wait till you're engaged, Alicia.
And what about you? It'll be you before me.
Nonsense you talk.
What a lot you brought. How long have you come for?
Alicia, you know Hilda's welcome for as long as she likes.
Well, of course she is. That's what I meant.
Thank you very much. You've been very kind.
Cab's out there, you know, Miss Janet. It's Swindle's drive. Well, ask him to wait, will you, Hannah?
I'll do it. Swindle!
You'll sleep in my room tonight,
Trunk
anyhow.
upstairs.
Yes, take it to my room, will you,
Mum,
Hannah?
take it to
Let's
the
go up,
place.
shall we? We don't have to leave for a few minutes yet.
Excuse me.
Must tell the parents. Mother's in bed with asthma.
Oh, thank you. Not serious, I hope.
Well, I'm afraid she has had a lot of trouble with it, but Father's coddling her.
Forward, beloved.
No. I shall never be able to tell them.
Astonishing that I have to do this myself, isn't it?
What is it?
It's a full-size detailed drawing. Simple. But do you suppose I could trust either of my ingenious sons to get the curves of the mouldings right?
You'll never be able to trust them unless you begin to trust them.
Fact is, he thoroughly enjoys it, doesn't he, Mrs. Orgreave?
You're quite right, my dear.
It'd look nice if I took to drink instead of work for a change.
Would you read to us about the strike, please, Hilda? It's a dreadful thing.
Oh, yes. I saw some of the men marching on my way up here.
It's the children I think of.
Pity the men don't.
Don't what?
Think of the children. Look on page 3, first column.
No, that's about racing.
Oh, dear, dear.
Oh, it's second column then.
Ah, yes. Potter's strike. Masters meeting this afternoon. The war continued. There's not very much of it.
Well, let's have what there is then.
A very largely attended meeting of the Masters was held in the Queen's Hall, Hanbridge, this afternoon. Their unanimous decision, after fully considering the various suggestions made in the Signal and other papers, being that in the present conditions of trade, there was no solution to the difficulty, except that of the return by the men to work at the prices and conditions of last year. It was further intimated that if necessary, the manufacturers would not resume work until March next. A large crowd of serious-looking operatives had assembled outside the hotel, awaiting the result of the meeting. Full particulars will appear in tomorrow's Signal.
How beautifully clearly you read.
Do I?
Is that all there is about it?
Yes. They don't seem to think it's very important that half the people are starving.
Whose fault is it if they do starve?
Well, I think it's a shame.
You know the men broke the award not long since. What can you do with such people?
Broke the award.
Broke the arbitration award. I'll tell you, a wise young woman like you oughtn't to be carried away by the sight of a procession on a cold night. If you want to hear about the men, you ought to listen to Mr. Clayhanger.
Oh, you mean old Mr. Clayhanger?
Yes?
Yes, but he's not a manufacturer.
No, but he's an employer of labor.
I should like to go over printing works.
Well, that's very easy.
Why did I say that? Oh. What a beautiful book.
Yes, isn't it? Tom brought it to show me before he went this afternoon.
Poems of Richard Crashaw.
It's a birthday present for Edie. He's had it specially bound. I must write to Edie and ask her to come over and meet you. I'm sure you'd like her. She's a dear girl. I'm sure I think Tom's very fortunate.
You don't? You think Edie's very fortunate?
I think they're both very fortunate. I'm sure she's a good girl and clever too.
Clever enough to get on the right side of her future mother-in-law.
Anyone would think that Osmond didn't like her to hear the way he talks. And yet he adores her. And there's no use him trying to pretend that he doesn't.
I adore only you.
There's no need trying to turn it off.
All this is beautiful. All this house is beautiful. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever known, or ever shall know. I'm happy here. All thy old woes shall now smile on thee, and thy pain sit bright upon thee. All thy sorrows here shall shine, and thy sufferings be divine. Tears shall take comfort and turn gems, and wrongs repent to diadems. Tears shall take comfort and turn gems, and wrongs repent to diadems. George Cannon would never have understood that. But everyone here understands it.
Hello, sir. Come in.
Thank you, Hannah.
Pretty strangers, sir.
Yes, anyone in?
Well, sir, I'm afraid Miss Janet and Miss Alicia are out.
For Mr. Tom?
Mr. Tom's out, sir. He pretty nearly always is now, sir, now that he's engaged.
Oh, yes, of course.
Mr. John and Mr. James are out too, sir.
And Mr. Orgreave?
He's working upstairs, sir. Mrs. Orgreave's got her asthma, so he's working upstairs.
Ah. Well, tell them I called.
I'm sure Mr. Orgrave would like to know you're here, sir. If you'll just wait a moment, I'll tell him right away.
How very like me to force myself out, and then to arrive and discover they're out.
If you please, sir, Mr. Edwin Clayhanger's called.
Oh. Well, I've nearly finished. Where is he?
In the hall, sir.
Oh, better show him into the breakfast room. Tell him I'll be down in a few minutes.
Hilda, would you mind going and telling him?
Me?
Yes, you go, Hilda. Seems to me he only comes here when he knows you're here.
Oh, come along, Osmond. How could he possibly know that Hilda was here?
Perhaps you're right.
Would you mind, Hilda?
No, of course not. Edwin Clayhanger. I can't just pretend that nothing's happened. I'm a married woman. No. I'm not.